Are you ready for some excitement? Are you ready for some suspense? Why not go on a first date with a book? Hello, welcome to my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and today I am doing the book first date book tag. This is sometimes known as the blind date tag. It was created about a year ago by Marcella at Marcella's Meanderings and Tahlia at Tahlia Nerds Out. This is how Marcella describes the tag. This original, as far as we can tell, book tag was inspired by my husband's suggestions that Tahlia and I used to brainstorm. Do you ever think of choosing a book as analogous to a first date, with all its suspense and excitement? Yes? No. Well, Book Chat with Pat tagged me today, and I decided I'm not doing anything this morning, so why not do this tag? This tag has 9 prompts. Prompt number 1. What books do you regret buying? I don't think I regret buying books on principle. On occasion, I buy a book, I read it, and say, that book was just okay, not so great. But I don't necessarily regret buying it. It's just not a great book. Prompt number 2. Do you DNF books? Why or why not? At what point do you DNF? If you do, how much time do you generally invest before DNFing? I don't think I have any specific method to decide when I'm going to DNF. There are a lot of people who will mention the 100 pages minus your age rule, but that really does not fit for all books. For me, I DNF when I decide I'm thinking more about my next book that I want to read than the book that I'm currently reading. So if I'm in a novel or a piece of nonfiction and I may be 150 pages in and I'm looking and wow, I only got 100 pages more until I can get to my next book, maybe that's time to DNF because I'm just not invested in the book. I'm just reading it to get it done. And if that's all you're doing with the book, put it down and move on to something you'll like some more or may like some more. Prompt number 3. Is there a book you did not want to come to an end, couldn't put down? I don't think that's happened to me for a very long time. When I was younger, I was very invested in some books, and I was thinking, wow, this is just so great. It's going to be sad when it's over. Now that I've gotten older, I've gotten a little more pragmatic. I can really enjoy a book, but I realize all books have to come to an end, and I'm glad they came to an end. One of these I will point out was a book that I read a few years ago that was Against the Day by Thomas Pynchon. I was group reading it with Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics and a few other people, and I was reading this book over 2 months. And I was reading about 10, 12 pages a day, maybe 15 pages. And at the end, I was going, wow, I've accomplished a lot. But I'm glad this book is over. But in a way, I was sad that the book was over, even though I did not like it all that much. I had so much time invested in that book that it hit me. This book is done. I did not want to reread it, and it's unlikely I will read Against the Day again anytime in the future. Prompt number 4. Have you experienced withdrawal after finishing a specific book? Not wanted to move on to other characters, wanted to reread the whole book or sections of it again immediately after finishing, etc. I don't think I have personally experienced reading a book that way, that I immediately wanted to reread it. I do remember a humorous story. When I was in school, we had a day hiking trip, and my friend Victor was reading Gone with the Wind. He was just extolling how much that he loved Gone with the Wind, and he was actually reading the book while walking on the hiking trail. That alone is kind of unusual. but he got to the last page of Gone with the Wind, and he immediately turned to the first page and started rereading the book. I have never found a book that engrossing that I would immediately start rereading it, and especially not on a hiking trail. Victor was an unusual guy, but he was a good friend nonetheless. Prompt number 5. What keeps you invested in a book? Well, that really depends on the book. If you are reading a literary work, maybe the prose is keeping you engaged. Maybe the characters are keeping you engaged. If you're reading a mystery, maybe the storyline is engaging you. Who committed the murder? Who stole the jewels? So forth. Or just the story itself. The story is super exciting, and you want to wonder if the characters are going to get out of that situation, even if the characters are kind of flat. So I can't specifically say any one thing keeps me invested. It's all in the book. Prompt number 6. What prompts you to pick up a book? Cover, blurb on the back of the book, etc. I don't think there's any one thing that always makes me want to pick up a book. Covers nowadays really aren't all that hot, in my personal opinion. I do like the old pulpy paperback covers, and if I see an old paperback with a great cover, I'll pick it up for the cover, not necessarily for the contents of the book, because sometimes these great covers just don't have great stories inside of them, but you still like the book for the cover itself. Or maybe you hear a bit about a book on a YouTube review, on the paper, or somewhere, and you say, that book sounds interesting, I'll go ahead and read it. Least of the things that pick me up are blurbs on the book. Rarely a blurb on the back of the cover or inside or wherever will make me want to pick up the book. I've just gotten over that. It used to be when I was younger, I think the blurbs had much more influence on me. But as I've had many decades of reading, I kind of intuitively know from the author's name, the genre of the book, or whatever, if I'll like the book or not, or if I should pick it up. So really, there's a lot of reasons to pick up a book. Prompt number 7. Do you keep finished books to reread, or do you unhaul them? I almost always keep the books that I read, even if they are a DNF. On a few rare occasions nowadays, I will get rid of a book or two, but that's really a rather rare occurrence. It did happen earlier this week because I had picked up a book from a little free library in my community lodge, and I decided, if you take books from the little free library, you kind of have to give books back to the library. So I went over the books that I've read and will not read again. It was the Heaven and Earth grocery store. The name of the author escapes me for the moment, but I read that for a book group. It was fine. It wasn't a great book. It wasn't a bad book, but I know I will never reread it. And even though it's against my general principles to unhaul, I donated it to the little free library. But for me, keeping the books is what you should do, because someday you may want to reread it. Even if you don't, it's like a wine cellar. You keep all your books in your collection for that one day when you're actually going to want to reread it or read it. Prompt number 8. Who or what do you trust most for book recommendations? Again, I don't have any one source that I always go to. There is no one booktuber or one reviewer that I always trust. Because even if you like a person's reviews most of the time, every person is different, and they may be extolling a book that I know I just will not like. So every recommendation, every review has to be taken with that grain of salt to see if that book actually fits my reading preferences. Prompt 8.5, bonus question. Would you ever pick up a book and read it without knowing anything about it? Or conversely, let someone choose a book for you? Blind date. LOL. Maybe. Way back in 2008, 2009, when the Kindle was brand new, I was a member of an online bulletin board discussing everything Kindle. And one of the members out there started up what he called a reading game. And people would join this game just saying, I want to read a book. And then someone else from this game would be randomly selected to pick a book for you. Now, there were some rules to this. You could give a few deal breakers like no explicit sex, no explicit violence, that sort of thing. And then the person would choose a book for you to read. And they'd sometimes give you 2 choices or 3 choices, but that's what it is. Someone else picking a book for you. And I did that like 8, 9, maybe 10 times. And I read some good books. I read some duds. But it was letting other people pick books for me. I thought it was kind of fun. I would do something like that again, just because maybe you'll find a good book. Odds are against it, but maybe you would find a great book. Who knows? Maybe someone here on BookTube should take up that mantle and see what they can run with it. Have people selecting books for other people. Prompt number 9, tag other people. Since this tag is over a year old and I can't remember who's done this tag, who's been tagged, I'm not going to tag anyone specifically to do it. But if you are interested in this first date book tag, go ahead and do it. Thank you for watching and keep on reading.